Now, the next attribute we're going to be discussing is dribbling. Now, this one has some very interesting finds here. So yeah, please do continue to watch and listen. Keep your ears peeled. Listen, because there's some interesting things here that I was like, okay, interesting. And I'm sure a decent amount of you will be surprised. So yes, of course, another 6 attributes in agility, balance, reactions, composure, ball control, and dribbling. So of course, we're going to start off with agility. This is a physical attribute that accounts for 10% of dribbling, and this is how agile a player is whilst moving or turning. So how fast or how quickly or graceful a player can control the ball, essentially, when they're turning. So of course, players with high agility can perform acrobatic shots or clearances as well. And of course, it's a stat to look at if you like players who like running with the ball. So of course, if you like players that like dribbling, running, etc., of course, consider agility. Now, the next one we have is balance. Well, surprisingly, the way this gets, not hyped up, but the way this gets, people speak about this, I'm surprised it counts for this low of a weight, but it's balance. So of course, balance is another physical attribute, and it actually only accounts for 5% of dribbling, which is interesting. So less than agility. So of course, balance is the ability to maintain stability after a physical challenge. So of course, it influences dribbling and more generally how responsive a player feels. So if a player has high agility and high balance, they'll move fluidly with the ball and get in and out of tight spots. So those nifty players, those Messi's, Hazards, those kind of, I'm not trying to, guess Hazard because he tells player, but Messi's, players that are very good at dribbling that just somehow come out of those very tight spaces where you're kind of left wild. Yeah, if you've got high agility and high balance, these are kind of dribbles you'll be making. So this is something to bear in mind. So those players you have, for example, that have let's say 95 plus pace, for example. Some of these players can feel kind of sluggish and a bit unresponsive if they have low agility and balance, especially with the taller players that are just pace merchants. Their balance and agility aren't going to be as good compared to your shorter players with lower centers of gravity. So yeah, that's why some of your players, they're quick, 95 pace, 95 acceleration, sprint speed, but they don't feel as responsive and as nifty because their agility and balance is not as high. So this is the significance of balance and agility. Of course, we're focusing on balance, but yeah, just bear that in mind. The next one we have, this is a shock, is reactions. So reactions, another physical attribute, actually accounts for 0% of dribbling, which is, it's very interesting. It's not a shock because reactions are kind of to do with everything, reacting to tackles, reacting to everything, but for 0%, okay. And I don't know how EA really categorize these things, but whatever. So of course, reactions are how quickly a player responds to a situation happening around them. So it's self-explanatory. So it actually has nothing to do with the player's speed. So a player can be fast, but have slow reactions. So yeah, it's the time between the moment a player sees where the ball is and the moment he gets in position to receive it. So for example, he sees the ball's there and he gets into the correct position to receive it. Those are reactions. Players with slow reactions will do this slowly. Players with quick reactions or high reactions will do this quickly, of course. And of course, it impacts all players. So yeah, this impacts all. So whether the CPU, computer controlling the player, or you are. So yeah, just bear this in mind. It's not just you are pressing the button to react. It also is the computer how quickly a player will react naturally. So yes, those rebound shots, yeah. Low reaction players are not going to be getting rebound shots. Same as keepers. He makes a save and he's on the ground. Player with low reactions will stay in the ground for longer. Quick reactions will get up very quickly. Rebound shots, high rebounds will react quickly, try and tap it in, etc. Tap in merchants. Shut up. Now, of course, the next thing we have is this is somewhat of an enigma in FIFA EA Sports world, this province, is composure. Now, this is a mental attribute. This accounts for 0%. Again, I feel like this one also should have its own category, composure. It comes into everything, shooting, passing, dribbling, whatever. So I don't know why they put it in dribbling, but yes, it's in dribbling. So of course, composure actually determines at what distance the player with the ball starts feeling the pressure from the opponent. So it affects the chances of the player making an error when they're shooting, passing, or crossing. So technically, it's not that much to do with dribbling. This one is very, very, there's no set rules for composure. It's very, very difficult to determine composure. But yes, it impacts the likelihood of error when you're under pressure from an opponent when you're shooting, passing, and crossing. So of course, a higher value means a better performance when you're under pressure from an opponent. Lower value means worse performance when you're under pressure. So of course, it's very important in real life and even in the game, but it's hard to actually quantify. So yes. Now the next two we have are the two most important factors when it comes to dribbling. So first of all, we're going to start off with ball control. This is of course a technical attribute. It's one of the most technical as you can get, really, one of the most. And this accounts for 35% of dribbling. So this is the ability to control the ball when receiving it. So the higher your ball control is, the less likely the ball is to bounce away from you when controlling. So of course this is associated with the player feeling comfortable with the ball. So like when the ball, binds to a play, as I said, the Hazards, the Messi, these kind of players are very good. Neymar's, that the ball sticks closely to their feet when they're dribbling. This is very important. Ball control really encompasses here. Dribbling is natural for them, and as I said, it counts for first touch and also dribbling. For example, it helps maximize the effectiveness of body feint, no touch, dribbling, these such things, and it influences how well a player can keep possession of the ball essentially when opponents want to tackle them. So ball control is it's one of the most important attributes in football, really. As a fundamental, as a footballer, it can't really be unstated. And of course, the last one we have, and arguably the most important of dribbling, is dribbling. So of course, this is another very technical attribute, and it accounts for 50% of dribbling, and this is the ability to carry the ball and pass the opponent. So of course, the higher the dribbling, the higher likelihood the player has of keeping better possession of the ball while dribbling. Because, of course, players with high dribbling, they'll just keep better possession of the ball. They'll keep the ball closer to them, similar to ball control, but yeah, they'll just keep the ball closer to them, and it'll just make it a lot harder for opponents to win the ball with them. Now, of course, this has no connection with receiving the ball. So this has, your first touch, etc. It has nothing to do with dribbling. That's ball control. So yes, just of course, factor this in. Do bear this in mind. This is just once you receive the ball, what you do with it, how effective you are at, maintaining, keeping the ball, and getting past players effectively. So yes.